All right, take a guess. The intermission was not that long to change games from one NES game to another NES game. Here's MixMastaPJ with Monster Truck Rally.
Hey guys, it's me, MixMastaPJ. Welcome to the Mediocres NES block. Thanks to MixMastaPJ, who just did Super Off-Road a second ago and did a real mediocre job on that. Hopefully I can follow that up with a mediocre job here, pal. But yeah, give him a follow. Seems like a pretty cool guy. This is Monster Truck Rally. This game, man, I don't even know if mediocre describes this game. This is kind of rough. There are two songs in this game, and you hear one of them right now. Alright, the other one's right here. These are the only two songs in the game. There's like a little jingle when you finish a race. That's about it. There's no ending, there's no crazy credits or anything like that. However, the event that we're going to perform is the Monster Truck Rally itself, and it includes all of these events. It includes the hill climb, the drag race, 2 heats of the drag race actually, a bog race through a bunch of water, a race of car crushing, a tug of war, there's 2 heats of that, a sled pull, there's 2 heats of that, a drawbridge race, 2 heats of donut racing, a custom track, and then a combo course. So they combine all these pieces together. That's what the Monster Truck Rally is. It's all of those things. Now, wait a second. You're probably thinking, custom track? You get to make your own track? I do. In fact, I have to. And I'm going to make the easiest one imaginable. I'm going to make a straightaway there and go back to the start-finish line, and boom, that's my track. I would do a tiny little donut if they let me. That's as good as we can do. Difficulty levels on default. We don't want to race against a computer. We want to race by ourselves. Yep, that's it. And if you like this music, I do. It's great. These 2 songs are awesome. Credits go to George Sanger. He is Maniac Mansion, Funhouse, Tecmo NBA Basketball, Adventures of Rad Gravity, Defenders Dynatron City, Rocketeer, Dick Tracy, Total Recall, all of those games. If you know, if you're like, this music kind of sounds familiar. What is this from? This is the guy. He does that. All those songs. So, absolutely great composer. One of my favorites. So, Monster Truck Rally. We got everything all set up. I think we're good to go. We're gonna start the timer here in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, there's our little jingle to start the race. And we are this Aqua pickup truck. And we're going to try and take this turn as sharp as possible so we don't have to go too far wide, because we do have a left turn coming up after this. And as we climb these hills, that number in the upper left corner there, that represents what gear I'm in. You're like, well, why wouldn't you downshift or upshift? Why are you just hanging around in second? Well, that's because that's what the game does. I'm only able to shift gears if I release and then press the A button again, which is the same button I use to accelerate. So typically speaking, if it sequentially doesn't make sense for me to shift gears by lifting in the middle of a hill climb or something like that, then I won't. Even if it seems like, you know, from a physical, real-life perspective, it would make sense to change gears. And there's some other things that we got to worry about here, as you guys saw a second ago, like that drawbridge and whatnot. I'll explain more to those when we get there. One thing I want to point out there are these little bumps. The air that you get on them is a little bit of RNG involved there. And if you get a bad batch of it, then you could end up just bottoming out. Every time you hit the edge of the screen, you get one of those little spin outs there, so obviously not perfect. Which is great for this marathon. We're trying to land every single one of these little hills when we're pointed downwards. So I don't want to go, that was too far. Like, I kind of was going too fast. I was too awesome for that hill. And thus I didn't get the land going down, so I didn't get quite the speed boost as I would have if I had landed at the top of the hill and then got to ride it down. So we're trying to lift a little bit when we get to the top. That was close. I landed right on the corner there. I still got a good chunk of downhill speed, but when you go downhill like that, it lets you get into 3rd gear. Also, anytime you turn your truck, puts you automatically in the 2nd. There's that bottoming out I was talking about there. That was really bad RNG. That was actually, this is possibly the worst RNG I've ever seen in the first event. Those puddle mud combo like that you saw, those are randomly placed. I think it's like 1 out of every 32 racing tiles. You know, that's the chances of it popping up. It might not come up at all. It might come up more than that, but it just kind of rolls a D32 inside of the game and throws those out once in a while. And it's really, really funny to get it at the base of a hill there and then also in a turn. That was quite ridiculous. So here we're on to the drag race portion. So we're just going to drive really, really, really fast, and hopefully we don't get too many puddle RNG. Like I said, it's about 1 in 3. There's 1. Happens sometimes, not all the time. When it does happen, you just hope it's not in your racing line, because by turning there, it would have cost me more time, so. I know, and that's why when I saw this marathon, I was like, I cannot think of a better game to submit than this. This game was featured in a marathon, well, actually like a contest, a couple years back. Those who know the incredibly great NES speedrunner, she's Chardcore, she ran an event called the Char 20 a couple years back, and this game was included. And it just put a whole lot of names on the leaderboard of people who hadn't even considered this as a game worth playing before. I picked it up recently when I was trying to knock out all the George Sanger games I could find. And I remembered this one from when I was a kid and was surprised that it had that kind of participation already. So, shout outs to Char. Amazing human and runner in her own right. Had the pleasure of meeting her a few weeks ago when I was in Minneapolis for SGDQ. So, hope you're doing well, Char. Alright, we're at the bog. Oh, it was unfortunate. If we had gotten just a little bit better air there, we could have landed in the puddle and not wrecked, or landed a little bit past that bump and not wrecked. But like I said before, a lot of the air that you get off those jumps has a little bit of RNG attached to it. We're hoping for good RNG here. All right, that was fine. If we had gotten a little more air there, we might have hit the corner, and that would have been bad. But it's not just based on speed. Sometimes you go slower and you get more air, and sometimes you go faster and get less, and vice versa. We are taking these corners in some strange racing lines. I mean, you just saw me do a top-down racing game earlier. What I try to do in this game in particular is make sure that I'm making effectively my straightaways as long as possible and my turns as short as possible. So I kind of want to get up to gear 3 here, and then cut this turn super short. I can't get into 3rd gear unless my car is pointed perfectly straight. So as much as you'd love to say, oh, let me just hold it, maintain top speed for as long as possible, you kind of got to pick your spots on when you want to do that. So I tend to do sharp turns and quick turns when I'm already in 1st gear, and then try to take the turn really wide and stretch it out as long as possible if I'm in, 3rd gear or something like this. So great ending there. We got the drawbridge RNG there. That's on a global timer throughout the game from when you start the level to when you get there. So being able to ramp over those puddles helped a ton. Okay, no variance in this level. You just need perfect driving to get over the cars as fast as humanly possible here. We don't have to worry about RNG from the air. We don't have to worry about drawbridges or anything in this level. So we're just going to cut these super short while we're in 1st. And that way we can take this turn super early and get the 2nd gear as fast as possible. And then as soon as we clear this 3rd group of cars, we're going to try and get a sharp turn here. So we can get in the 2nd, and possibly even 3rd here before we get to this cars again. The cars always make you downshift the 1st. Oh, that's bad RNG there. Alright, we got the 3rd again though, that's good. See how many cars we can clear with a good bounce here. Okay, cool, we cleared 2 of the cars. Take a nice short turn so we can start accelerating quickly. There we go, and the bounce is fine. That was a really fast car crush. Made up for how bad our RNG was in hill climb. Alright, tug of war, we're not going to do anything. It's a competition between me and a computer car, and one of us has to drag the other over the finish line. Now, if I was the best tug of war player ever in Monster Truck Rally history, I would not be able to drag the computer car as fast as he's able to drag me. So we're going to intentionally lose. All we're really hoping for is that he drives his car perfectly straight and doesn't bounce into the walls and waste a lot of time by going left to right. We want him to go perfectly linear. Shortest distance between 2 places in a straight line, right? So that's what we're hoping for here. He's pulling me straight back. No, don't drag me into the... Oh, my goodness. Come on. Stop going left or right. I am not putting up a fight, dude. My hands are not touching any button. Come on. All right, cool. We did it. Okay. The sled pull, same deal. We have 2 heats. We have to do the sled pull as fast as possible. The thing is, it's really cool about the sled pull. They don't care how apathetic you are. Like, oh, that was as far as I could pull it. You could typically drive it a little bit further before it gets so heavy. I'm not quite sure the physics of a sled pull and how that works. I've seen like bits and pieces of it on like television over the years, but I was never quite sure like how it got heavier or if the ground got muddier or something like that. But it was always an interesting concept. Oh, look, I can drive just fine. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, this level very RNG dependent. Like I said, all these drawbridges on our global timer. we try to go like right when that thing starts declining from that position so that we can get a nice launch here. But no, it was a bad bump. We got there a little bit early. That's going to throw up the whole rhythm because now we have to wait for this one. Devastating, I know. A perfect run here just gets a perfect launch at the beginning, and then when you turn the corner, that one's facing backwards the other way. Not the case here. We are going to be able to get a nice little launch off this guy. And hopefully that one's down by the time we get there, but like I said, that stopping and waiting by drawbridge 2, or drawbridge 3 rather, is going to be the biggest reason this is not super fast. And we still got to wait for this guy. So, didn't quite one cycle. But did alright. I think even if we had one cycle, we'd still be waiting for that last drawbridge. So, I don't know how much time we really lost by that. We'll see. So it all comes through here at the end. Alright, here's our donuts. You can't actually get the third gear here. You can only go in second. Actually, I take that back. You can get the third gear, but you end up taking like paperclip kind of sized laps. And they're just much slower. So while you are technically going faster, you're just going the very, very long way around. Basically making 2 long straightaways with U-turns at the end. So it's just easier to keep things here in second. You got to do 3 laps all the way around. You don't want to hit that pile of dirt in the middle. It does spin you out. So try to be somewhat careful of that. Alright, so we finished that. Now we got our very complicated custom track we made. You guys remember that? Let's check it out and see it in all of its glory. That's it. Whew, that was quick. Alright. So that's the custom track. Now we are on Monster Truck Rally. We are on the last event here. We are doing the combo course. Everything all put together. There's going to be hills to climb and bogs to traverse and drawbridges and cars to crush and everything. Everything we've accomplished so far going to be rolled into one messy course here. So messy that I might go down this hill too fast and just bottom out for my momentum. Let's see. Yep. Seems to happen about 75% of the time. Even when you lift or downshift there, it can still happen. Typically speaking, if you're going for a PB or something like that, you just, I mean, it means we're not going to world record or anything now because of that wreck, but you still got to go for it, especially in a marathon. Come on. What'd it cost us, like 3 or 4 seconds? That ain't much. You got a lot of bad RNG there with those puddles, but they weren't really difficult, so actually probably, if those things had any kind of impact on the next items, then that's kind of good to get them out of the way. That's not a great spot, but we're alright. And we were also very fortunate with that global timer. Not even have to lose any momentum whatsoever for those drawbridges. That was about as perfect as it could get, so maybe this has been great RNG so far. Depending where it put us. Oh, we got a nice puddle there to knock us out of third gear. You hate to see it. Alright, a couple bumps here to traverse. And then a couple bumps here. We're going to be careful not to bottom out. Very good. Okay. Sometimes you just land on one of those pointing the wrong way, and it just throws you over. So, trying to be careful through there. Couple hills to climb. You thought that was a lot of climbing. It's about to get... We're about to get some serious altitude here in a sec. Climb all these steps. Then a really sharp climb here. And then sharper. And then even more climbing. And then some downhills. Another good drawbridge. Oh! That's what we get for going too fast up the hill. We gotta back it up. Get some momentum. Oh, man. What could have been a great time. Now will have to be a mediocre time. Oh, we landed on a downhill, though. That's nice and fast. Try and go around the mud instead. And now we're at the bog portion. You're like, I saw the cars we crushed. I saw the hills we climbed. I saw the drawbridges we done seen. Also, what a jump that was. Well, you know what I haven't seen yet, PJ? Remember we did all that swimming earlier? What happened to that? Oh, here it comes. Now, the way that you take these is you really want to try and stretch out the straightaway leading up to it. You don't ever want to be in there 4 swishes like that, like I just was. You want to get the second gear before you go in. And typically only have 1 or 2 swishes in the water, but a couple of 4s there. That's all right. Got some last cars to crush here, and then we'll be finished our combo course, and time will be when the screen transitions here after we get the checkered flag animation and the cool little jingle. So, as we finish up our monster truck rally here. There we go. Across the finish line, and time will be right here at the next screen. And that is time. 3:15.73 combo course isn't that bad. It's not that great, but given all the things that I had to go through there, I'm kind of okay with it. I'm really okay with this George Sanger jingle. George Sanger banger. It's not mediocre at all, but the game certainly is. Hope you guys enjoyed Monster Truck Rally. That and its 2 songs. But yeah, you can see me playing all sorts of mediocre games, not just these. Plenty of other NES World Record pursuits that I've got going on. I hope you really enjoyed this, and stay tuned here for the next run and the rest of the ones that we got this weekend. They're all awesome. Everyone in the Discord's been great to hear from, and I can't wait to see what's next, guys. So, like I said, give me a follow if you want to see more of this, but stick around and see some awesome mediocre games that we got coming up. Appreciate y'all. Thanks.